What if you can't find a cash buyer for your real estate wholesaling deal? Should you panic? Should you give up? What should you do? Guys, this is Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I'm gonna break down exactly what you need to do if you can't find a cash buyer, exactly why you can't find that cash buyer, and most importantly, how to save your deal so you can actually close the deal and get your assignment of contract and actually close and actually get that check, get that money for wholesaling real estate success. Before I break it all down, do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe, and let's break this down. So if you're starting out right now in real estate wholesaling and you might have gotten a deal under contract and you can't find that cash buyer, there's probably two reasons why. And I always tell everyone starting out this reason, and from doing thousands of real estate wholesaling deals, I figured out pretty much it comes down to two factors of why you can't find a deal. And from somebody right now that I have saved so many people from struggling in real estate wholesaling, I found out pretty much that if you can't sell a real estate wholesaling deal, if you can't find a cash buyer, it's because either number one, the price is too high, or number two, you haven't talked to enough cash buyers. Let me repeat this one last time. If you can't find a cash buyer for your real estate wholesaling deal, either the property like you have under contract is way too high, the price you're trying to sell to a cash buyer is too high, or number two, you haven't talked to enough cash buyers. Let's talk about the first thing. So the first thing here of why the property is under contract for too high or you're selling it for too high means you're just selling something for more than what a cash buyer is willing to pay for it. That's why I have my ARV minus repairs with the multiplier of your ARV at freewholesaling.com, and I show you exactly how much a cash buyer is willing to buy a deal for. Most likely, if your ARV is under $120,000, your cash buyer does not want to go over 70% of ARV minus repairs. Now, if you're at like 150, 160, all the way to like $250,000, probably 83% of ARV minus repairs, and then when you're 400,000 or 500,000, it's usually 85%. Roughly during these times, as recording this video right now, most of the time your cash buyer, that's really, they want to have a discount on the property. Most beginner wholesalers, unfortunately, overinflate the ARV on the properties, and that's usually the case. So when someone comes to me and they say they can't find a cash buyer, I'll actually I'll look at their deal, I'll actually comp it, do everything like that, and I figure out usually the property is just way too high. The ARV is just too inflated. And most people are too optimistic when they do the comps, and that's the biggest reason why. They say a 3-2 sells across the street for twice than what the thing's even worth because that one's on like the water and it's got like this beautiful view, or like it's on like 2 acres, but like they calculate it like that. Most people are too optimistic with their comps. So that's why I always take off the best comp and take off the worst comp. That is actually a really quick way to do that. But most of the time, you have the ARV too high. And the other part, like this is like 10% of the time, you just haven't talked to enough cash buyers. The problem with cash buyers is if you only have a couple of them, they're gonna gaslight you. And you might not know like what's gaslighting, what was all this stuff. Now, you can look that definition up, but a lot of cash buyers I've seen, you've sold the deal to them, you've made a $20,000 profit, and they're your only cash buyer you have. So you take the second deal, and they think, you know what, this guy's gonna make 20K off of me. Zach, I have to buy this for $15,000 less than your price right here. And it's not because the value of the property went down, they just don't like you making an assignment fee, and they know they can swindle you off, they can swindle you more and take actually less money for you and actually get more in their pockets, and they just want you to make less of an assignment fee, and they know you have no other option. So if you only have 1 or 2 cash buyers, they're gonna make you think you're crazy, your ARVs are too high, and like you're insane with your prices, and they gotta be going down, and you have no other options. And that's a problem, right? That's like if you live in the entire state of like a huge state, let's just say like Texas, and there's only like 5 gas stations, right? They could charge you $1,000 a gallon. Like there's not a lot of gas stations. Like where else are you gonna go for gas, right? The thing about Texas is there's a ton of gas stations. So like they have to compete on prices. Same thing with your cash buyers. If you have 15 cash buyers, they're not gonna try to pull a fast one on you. You know, you talk to 15 cash buyers and they all tell you that, hey Zach, this price is too high. You go to the next one, the price is too high. The next one says that. If you talk to like 10 cash buyers and they all say the price is too high, most of the time, it's not you, it's the actual deal. It's actually the deal is just priced too high. So just understand that. Some people got to take a quick ego check on that their just deal is not a deal, right? If you talk to 15 people on it, it's just not going to be a deal. Now, if you talk to one or two and they say the price is too high, I've actually found when I got into like the third or fourth cash buyer, they're like, oh my God, I'll pay $30,000 over that. Or like they'll pay like an insane amount over than what the last guy said because you have more gas stations, quote unquote, right? I'll make 10 cents a gallon profit, and the other guy wants to make 1,000 cents a gallon profit. So it's just the difference, guys, that you got to understand. The more you talk to it, it's the economies of scale. When you have more buyers, you can actually charge more money, more cash buyers, because there's more people willing to purchase it. So just don't panic. I think a lot of people, they really panic. So you got to understand these two options. So number one, if your price is too high, which is probably the most likely, unless you're like really bad at building cash buyers, then we can kind of break that down exactly what to do. But like if your price is too high, you're probably going to get a price reduction on that deal. And it's never a fun thing to get a price reduction, but either you get to write a new contract or make an addendum to that contract, which we break down at freewholesaling.com. And you just have a conversation with the seller, like, hey, Mr. Seller, talk to my partner on this, and we just can't buy this for 120. We're gonna have to be at $105,000 on this. Shut up, see what they say, and then that's basically all you can really do in this situation. Just get a price reduction on there. Now, the second part is if you haven't talked to enough cash buyers, you're probably not really good at pulling cash buyers. So what you need to do is basically use 2 or 3 strategies to find cash buyers really, really quick and easy. So let me break down the first one. So the really quickest, easiest, most simple one to do, honestly, if you're in a decent metropolitan market, let's say you live in like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? A lot of people, I get this all the time. I think about this because I got a DM the other day. It's like, Zach, I'm in Milwaukee. There's no cash buyers at all. And I'm like, I know like 10 cash buyers in Milwaukee, right, from virtual wholesaling. It's actually hilarious. I actually get things like that. What I can tell you right now is if you go to like the local Real Estate Investors Association, it might cost you $5 to just go there. There's going to be a guru coach guy trying to sell you a course. Don't buy the little course thing. It's stupid. But if you actually come up here and go to local real estate investor associations, there's a lot of cash buyers there. There are a lot of wholesalers you can even JV with if you have to. It's actually kind of an in-person event. There's 50, 60 people in there. You can network with other wholesalers. Not a bad thing to do, really. Like it's a really good networking event and something I do recommend. So that's a really quick way to do it. You can go to like Zillow for free and just cold call the 4 rents in that zip code or in that city or county. And just call these people up and say, hey, I'm actually not looking to rent your house, but are you the owner of the property? Yes, or are you looking to buy any more rentals? Yes, I am. Well, I'm actually a wholesaler. I'm looking to see if you would want to buy some properties from me, some contracts from me, and I can do an assignment of contract, go through the questions we have at freewholesaling.com and kind of have that conversation from there. The Zillow for rents is actually a really good one. Facebook for rents is a good one. A quick hack I give to you is that we have at freewholesaling.com is you can actually pull probably like 50 to 100 qualified cash buyers a day. Like if you go hard in the paint using my Facebook ad copy, which you just copy and paste my ad copy at freewholesaling.com and Facebook real estate investor groups in your city, county, state, and even the national ones. And you can have cash buyers just DMing you and just going to you really easy by just posting it. And it's like a simple like ad copy, which I have like, hey, if you're looking to buy any more properties at 20, 34% off market value, hit me up, private message me or something like that. I have that ad copy at freewholesaling.com, so I do recommend you check out freewholesaling.com. There's a reason why I always tell you guys, go there. But you can pull like, probably within an hour, 50 cash buyers. You can search in the groups of cash buyers posting their email. You search like Milwaukee space cash buyer on Facebook and go through Facebook groups and national Facebook groups. You're gonna find a lot of really good real estate wholesaling deals doing that method. So Facebook's a really, really powerful way to do it. The other thing you can do also is, really if you want to, you can go to like listarea.com, zacday.com, and actually cold call to catch sales. So you actually just, people that bought properties for cash, you actually cold call them and actually try to find a deal if you got to find more cash buyers. Really, those are really the easiest ways to be doing it. And then the worst case scenario, right, is if you have the property for too high or like you can't find a cash buyer and you just can't renegotiate and there's no cash buyers, quote unquote, right? My best advice is, sometimes you just got to back out of the contract, right? Like if you have your earnest money, you want to save it. If you're within your inspection period, you can basically get out of the contract whenever you want. That's how, if you even work with a realtor, that's how that process works too. You just get out of it whenever you feel like it and you're pretty much good to go. One caveat I could tell you is if you can't find a cash buyer for virtual wholesaling, it's probably because your population's not high enough. when I do a lot of dispo deals and a lot of JV deals with you guys, and the number one reason I find that people can't actually sell their real estate wholesaling deals is in virtual wholesaling is like your county population is terrible. So like I talked about Texas. I had a deal in Texas where the county's population was like 3,000 and there was like 500 people in the city on that deal. There's legitimately not enough cash buyers. And that rule that I was talking about at the beginning didn't apply because there's only 3,000 people in that huge county. And there's just not enough cash buyers. So that's kind of the third part of there. Like sometimes there's not a lot of cash buyers. If your county's population is under 100,000, it's a lot harder for cash buyers to want to buy in there because they want something with some demand. So it's a supply and demand. We might have a good deal, but there might not be a lot of cash buyers. You're going to have to probably cold call 100 cash buyers to the state to even find one. It's probably not worth it. So if you're wholesaling, stick to counties with at least 100,000 plus people populations, and you're going to have no problem selling your deal with a cash buyer. So if you can't find a cash buyer, that's what I do. Get a price reduction, find more cash buyers, or see if you're in a market where there's just no cash buyers at all. Very rarely, if you're in like the middle of Nebraska, like Omaha's easy, Lincoln's easy, but like if you're in the middle of a cornfield in Nebraska or Iowa, it's probably hard to find a cash buyer for that. So just understand your market. There's cash buyers everywhere in certain markets. You just got to find them. So guys, if you got any value from this video, do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe. Go to freewholesaling.com, and I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed one.